Are you an HR department of one, trying to figure out how to balance task and strategy while keeping up with changes in regulatory compliance? Do you need a fresh outlook on old topics? Then stop what you're doing, grab your coffee, and get ready to recharge. If you have people, you have problems to solve and things to do. Your host is Brenda, a 20-year human resource professional, ready to explore the HR industry with veterans of business and life with fresh eyes and new ideas. Learn about the rapidly evolving changes in employment law around the country, as well as new tactics to deploy and build engagement in your workforce. If you're looking to implement new practices to make your job easier in HR, then this podcast is for you.
Hey there, and welcome to the Best Practices in Human Resources podcast. I'm Brenda, the HR lady, and I'd like to thank you for listening to the show. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for returning for yet another episode. Glad you're here. And if you're a first-time listener, welcome. You're going to really enjoy, really going to enjoy today's show. It was a lot of fun to record. Yeah, you're just going to enjoy it. That's all I have to say. I can't stop smiling because it was just an absolute blast. Anyway, what we do here is I am here to help you share with you the what and the how in human resources, because I'm in the human business, and that means that there's a greater number of dynamics in the workplace to balance and manage. And oh boy, howdy, isn't that true right now? Man, oh man. All right, so today I'm going to share with you employment law changes that are happening across the nation. I'm going to tell you where you can get access to the links on these articles that I call out. Our main guest today, we are kicking off November and our month-long tribute to veterans, and you're going to love this one. We've got Kris Tanto Paranto, and he and I talk about honoring veterans and what employers can do to support that veteran workforce. And later in the show, I'm going to share with you how you can get my best practices delivered to your inbox. Now, folks, just understand, please, that the information that is available through this podcast is, in fact, for informational purposes only and not for the purpose of providing any form of legal advice. You should contact your employment attorney to obtain legal advice if to respects to any particular issue you may be having. If you do not have one, go ahead and contact me, and I would be happy to go ahead and refer to you one through our affiliates program and our friends over at Jackson Lewis. Okay, so some call outs today. We got some good stuff. There's an article I'm posting up on the website. This is brendathehrlady.com. You can click on the podcast link, and it'll take you over to where these are housed, and you can read them up for yourself. It's a pretty easy way of finding it if you don't know what the full title is. A quick article on the ADA and explaining how ADA claims fail when employees accept a lateral transfer. Good information there. Also, temporary flexibility for employer I-9 compliance is expected to end November 19th, ICE has announced. Whether or not that's going to expand or continue, not really quite sure. But that's something you guys are going to want to look into. Voters in 5 states approved marijuana ballot initiatives on Election Day. Fun. And then also the CDC has offered tips to have a safe and jolly holiday season. Can you believe that we're in the holiday season? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I always think that holiday season gets a big kickoff right at like Halloween, and then it goes all the way through to Super Bowl. And yes, for some people, Super Bowl is an actual holiday, which is pretty great. Also, lastly, federal court has upheld enforcement of grocery store face covering policy over customer claims of disability discrimination. And the reason why I'm putting that out there is that if a federal court has upheld it, then it actually opens the door for other litigation and closes it on the likelihood that employers can actually make the same claim. But you know what? It's 2020. Anything goes. So who knows, right? But it's definitely good information to have. Over in California has offered limited guidance on the new pay data reporting requirements, and they are expecting further guidance coming down the road. Also, there is the expansion of the paid family leave that goes into effect January 2021. You guys in California need to stay up on that stuff. And then lastly, California does require board diversity and additional company disclosures as part of their company. Over in Colorado, there are some public comments received on the proposed rules implementing Colorado's Equal Pay for Equal Work Act. In Michigan, Massachusetts has ordered a targeted COVID-19 intervention effective November 6th, 2020. In Michigan, they have extended and revised its restrictions on gatherings and face masks. And then Miosha has also issued temporary emergency rules for managing COVID-19 in the workplace. Over in New Jersey, the governor has issued a new COVID-19 stay health and safety protocols for employers. And New York has changed the routes on travel advisory as a test out optional for COVID-19 quarantine. And lastly, in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh and Allegheny County has passed the Crown Act, which again is one of those laws that are put into place that prohibits people from discriminating against different ethnic hairstyles. And that's what we've got as far as news across the nation.
There are approximately 2,500 members of the U.S. Special Operations Community who transition out of active duty military service every single year. The Honor Foundation has dedicated its mission to serving these elite individuals on their journey to prepare for life once they take off the uniform. In the past few years, we've begun our own journey to reach this number, launching 3 physical campuses in San Diego, California, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and near Wilmington, North Carolina, along with a virtual campus to reach members of the community anywhere on the planet. I spent 26 years in the Special Operations community as a SEAL. I graduated from THS program, I served on the board of directors, and now I'm proud to lead this organization into the future to continue assisting these transitioning service members and their families. Our dedicated team, our world-class program, and our incredible tribes of supporters are standing by to help THF alumni and future fellows, and are committed to providing the best possible support system and resources to better serve this community. Our vision for the Honor Foundation is clear: to impact every transitioning service member from the U.S. Special Operations Enterprise through our programs and support, and to be a catalyst for overhauling the entire DoD transition program. It's a big task, but the community deserves it, and we're driving full steam ahead to make this a reality. If you've been inspired with what the Honor Foundation's done in the last 5 years, I welcome you all to join us as we craft the next chapter in defining what it means to serve others with honor for life.
A long while actually, since I took the time before a guest to actually introduce them, but this is our special Veterans Day salute, and this person really you're going to enjoy. His name is Kris Tanto Paranto, and he is an American author and businessman and former U.S. Army Ranger and security contractor. You may have known him from the heroic actions that were portrayed by Pablo Schreiber in the film 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. He is known for his heroic actions while part of the CIA Annex security team during the 2012 terrorist attacks on the U.S. ambassador to Libya, Chris Stevens, and the CIA compound in Benghazi. He is also featured in the book 13 Hours, an inside account of what really happened in Benghazi, and is credited as a co-author and as an author of the self-help books The Patriot Creed, Inspiration and Advice for Living a Heroic Life, and The Ranger Way, Living the Code on and Off the Battlefield. Folks, this is my interview and special Veterans Tribute with Kris Tanto Paranto. Oh my gosh, folks, we've already been laughing, and I'm already starting to cry already from laughing so much. I want to welcome Kris to the show. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh no, are you kidding me? Thank you for being on. This is fantastic. This is going to be fun. This is very clearly off to.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty off the wall. But most people that do follow, they know I have my moments that are kind of funny, and then some that are inappropriate, but they just turn to be funny too. I guess it's the same thing. Inappropriate and funny are synonymous.
They kind of go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I mean, well, look at here. See, look at.
There you go.
Mickey.
There you go, Mickey. Yeah, but you know what's funny is like when I make a mistake, I usually make a mistake in reverse. It always seems to help the company out, and I'm afraid like I'm gonna get into trouble or something.
Oh, get in trouble. See,
that's like the best mistake that could have been made.
well, don't ever worry about getting in trouble. Then you don't have to worry about your mistakes. There you go.
Right,
And you
exactly.
learn from them anyway. I mean, you got to make mistakes to learn. That's the best way to learn is to
Oh, I
follow
agree.
mistakes. Yeah,
I agree. So for those who have, the few people that probably have not heard about you.
There's more than a few. No, I'm not that pretentious. No, I'm one. Like we were just talking about. I'm one guy that has not shot Bin Laden. Not all the guys. That's inside joke, guys. Before we came on, it was an inside joke. So you won't get that, but we do. So that's all that matters.
So here we go. There goes the waterworks again. So would you be willing to kind of give people just a quick summary of your background?
I was in the Army for Army and Army National Guard combined for about 8 years. It was 8 years for both combined service, and I was a contractor for roughly around 11 years. Actually, I even did a private contracting gig just a few years ago, and then I just finally decided to hang it up. So we could even add some more years into it. But I worked with Blackwater Security for many years, and also with Ocean Hunter Group and Nexus Security Consultant, yada, all those name dropping. Greystone was another one. And then I was an Army Ranger with the 2nd Range Battalion. I was active duty. I spent time with the agency, with their global response staff, and that's hence where some people out there you might know me from I was portrayed by Pablo Schreiber in 13 Hours. Benghazi, I was one of those guys there on 9/11 at 2012. And for those that don't know that story, I just read the book 13 Hours, What Really Happened in Benghazi, which is our team's combination of what took place there that night with the help of Mitchell Zukoff, who was our actual writer. So at that time, you don't want SEALs and Marines and Rangers trying to write a book. It's like, hey, here, pull the tab. There's the RPG that goes across. Yeah, look at its color. But very well written book, and it was our account, all of our accounts of what took place, and Mitchell put it together. Which I thought it was very well done. And then also Michael Bay, which I was very shocked that we had Michael Bay, but he was tremendous. And I think he did a fantastic job. And I'm not just saying this, because it's the movie that portrays us.
Yes.
But I think he got really war accurate as a movie could get, because you see a lot of other movies out there and they're great. I mean, I know some of the guys that were in these situations, from Black Hawk Down to Lone Survivor to American Sniper, but they get the grittiness, but they miss all the fun and the camaraderie and actually the colors, how vivid actually war really is. I think Michael got it right. So that is, again, the movie 13 Hours with Pablo Schreiber.
Very, very well done movie.
I thought it was.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I was the guy wearing shorts that night in the fight. I was Tanto, guy with the shorts, and we couldn't put the Mickey Mouse shirt in the movie. We had to put a panda shirt because of licensing. But I was also wearing. Hey, speaking of that, I was also wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt during that fight, during that firefight. If that tells you what kind of person and personality I am. So, and now for the last 3 or 4 years, I wrote a couple other books, The Ranger Way and The Patriot's Creed, which is all of their faith-based books. And they talk about adversity, never giving up, how to fail. We talk about failure. It's actually, those are the books. They're about failure and not quitting and being able to succeed once you fail. Really, failure doesn't mean that you're done from down for the count. Failure is how you improve. At least that's how I learned how I improve. And then I've also done some public speaking here and there. And we do a few podcasts now and then. I have my own podcast, which we've talked about. And we'll get the Chicken Soup from the Soul. The author, we'll get him on there. Yep. Called the Battle Line Podcast. Myself and a gentleman by the name of Ian Scotto who do that. So I talk about, man, I have Battle Line Tactical as well. I have a training company. Just did a training course in Indiana. I've become the entrepreneur. I just didn't think about that.
You're a hard charger now.
I was like, my goodness. There's a lot of shit
I do all this stuff.
What the hell? But anyway.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing out in the world that says that you should have a stopping point. So
no, you always have, and that's why I tell veterans that you're always going to have an objective. Just because you got out of the military, you don't get that op order. Still set that objective, set that goal for you, and then you got something to strive to. The guys that don't really is when you start to. I guess we're probably getting ahead of ourselves. We're not even talking about that, but. I talk to gentlemen and veterans that have post-traumatic stress or having a hard time in life. It's normally because they've stopped setting that objective because they don't have that commander saying, here's your op. You don't need that anymore. You're the commander now. Set your own objectives, set that goal and try to reach it, give you some direction. And like myself.
That's perfect, because that's not limited to just veterans. That's everybody in life.
Everyone.
And that's what, this is one of the reasons why I appreciate you being on so much, is because you talk about mindset. I mean, a lot of the guys in the SEAL community, when they come on, they talk about mindset too, but mindset is so important. And what's great about this is that now, at the time that this is being aired, we are just on the other side of our election. We have no idea, what's happening as we do this, and that's okay. But you know what? I've labeled 2020 the year of chaos in the beginning, and from the middle of right at the end of it was towards the back end of July through today as we're recording this, I've had 4 people I know pass away in a very short period of time. And so I've now relabeled it 2020 as the year of hell. So
and it's how you see it. It's everybody has their own views and own personal experiences.
And everybody's going through it. And we're getting to the end of the year. We don't really know what's in store for us for 2021. And I thought some of the messages that you talk about, I just thought were great. So in honor of where we are today and having a person who has gone through so much, keep the mindset.
And you do keep the mindset. You never give up. You don't quit. I see this 2020, and I've said this before, is that this is giving everybody a chance to kind of reset and improve. Get yourself ready, because guess what? The starting gates are going to open again. Life's going to and it already is. Life's going to start opening again. This gives everybody the chance to prepare themselves. So when those gates open, like a horse race, those gates open, you're ready to take off. Whether it's like myself, the speaking events for me kind of shut down. So what did I do? Well, I started to get in the podcast stuff. I got my certification back, because I watched the movie. I was insurance adjuster in between contracts. That's what I did. Got that certification back. I started to get with a lot of the companies I have merchant, what I can do to help facilitate and better myself with merchandise and then also with my family, being able to spend more time with my family. Basically what I did is I bettered myself in other avenues, and also started to reach out into other professions. So when the starting gate opens, I'm ready to take off and still excel. So I set goals in different areas. It wasn't just, okay, this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to speak. I'm going to be on social media. I'm going to be on TV, and that's it. It's like, well, okay, can't really do a lot of this anymore. Can't do the speaking events. Don't really want to go on media anymore, the big mainstream media, because I think they really manipulate it one way or the other. And I've been there, guys. I know that. I'm telling you from the truth, whatever side it is, you're going to be picking a side. It's like, so what do I do? Well, this is what I can do. This is the control I have. My attitude.
Yes.
I have the control of my own attitude. I can't control your attitude or anybody else's. I can control mine. What do I need to do so I can be successful? I started to prepare myself for. For some of y'all out there, it could be going to get an education. You can do educations on. You don't go to school anymore. Just get it online. Prepare yourself with that, or like yourself with the podcast, or reaching out and looking with the SEAL founders, the community, and seeing what you can do to help them, which may even help yourself. It's always the ones that oh my gosh, that go down the slope. But when you look at them and you see what they're doing to try to help themselves, or not, they're just feeling sorry.
And I think a lot of people, it's not that they forget, they don't remember.
Remember.
Right. They don't remember.
They don't remember. That's a good way to put it.
They don't remember that, there are other people in the world that feel the same thing. And so that's what happens. We've talked about before in the shows that when you do get stressed, and then all of a sudden your vision starts to compress. Now, when you're in the heat of a moment like you've been, you do get tunnel vision. You have to stay, focused in on something.
But that being said, in the heat of the moment, if you've well trained and you prepared yourself, and I'll tell you from experience, it doesn't go like this.
Right.
Comes like this, and actually things slow down. You're preparing yourself, and that's basically what I'm saying in my 8 million roundabout way. Prepare yourself.
Yes.
So when the stress starts to come, you're like, oh, I got this. All right. And now you got control of your world again. Okay, I cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That was perfect. It's opening your aperture. But that's the thing. We're not conditioned, because you deal with a
Oh.
lot of little stresses, but you don't really
Sure.
hit a lot of the big major ones. And this is, 2020 is a big major one. But one of the things that I have learned, and I know you're a faith-based individual, I'm a very faithful individual too, is that when the crap hits, and it hits hard, there's a reason behind it. So I've stopped trying to figure out, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why me? Blah, blah, blah. I always start thinking, it's like, okay, so what's on the other side of this now? And it's amazing the paradigm shift that happens when you take that on.
It's the acceptance. It's just the acceptance. And it's easy for me to say right now because my life is going well, but it was harder back in the day when I was trying to find the acceptance of, why are we getting thrown to the dogs? Wait a second. I just went out the gate willing to sacrifice my life, and now I'm being crap. What did I do to deserve this? And you try to start feeling sorry for yourself. What did I do to deserve this? Instead of, okay, you know what? There's a lesson to be learned here. I don't try to figure out. God's got it. This is the path. Let's just keep rocking on this path, but I can still keep improving in other avenues. So I'm ready to excel when it's time for me to excel. When that's going to be, I don't know. But I'm still ready and preparing myself instead of just going down that slippery slope of, just like you said, why is this happening to me? And every day you do that, it just keeps getting worse. Why am I doing it? Then you get angry. And then and then there's animosity.
Yes.
And then you turn on the TV and you see that most of the stuff we have on there is to feed an animosity or to feed a side, which creates even more division and it creates more anger. And you're not seeing. I've done that test on social media where and I think we might have talked about it before, where I've posted something positive and then I've posted something negative. And I did that test on my own social media on Facebook where there's I had a few 100,000 followers. So I think I got a good, there's also, there's probability statistics, there's variables everywhere. I think I got a good read on it. The good post would get 3 times less follow shares than 3 times to 4 times less than the negative. It's like, man, we are feeding and really killing ourselves with the negative. The only way to get out of that, faith always helps.
And you have to work on it. And here's the thing: human beings are wired to be negative, as we are. We just see the world in negative light. And if you don't believe me, I do this when I do my training classes. When I do public speaking, I'll have Post-it note paper up on the wall, right? The big chart paper, and I'll give each one a marker. One's red, one's green, or whatever. And I'll say, okay, you guys shout out single word emotions. And you with the green, you write down all the positive. You with the red, you write down all the negative ones. And it's amazing that in 15 seconds, the red list is always longer than the green. Always. I've done this hundreds of times, and it's amazing. But it takes conditioning, and it takes discipline, and it takes grabbing onto something to make it through. And I think that's what we need right now is, what are we grabbing on? Are we grabbing onto each other? Or are we grabbing onto the negative? Are we grabbing onto the positive?
I think grabbing on the positive, but I think the best way to do that, and I say it, and I've heard it from other veterans too. We are the ones that have gotten through a lot of adversity, which most have, but there's some that have just been through hell, lost legs and limbs and so forth. And how positive. Tom Block's a perfect example, who lost his eye during an attack in Afghanistan. But is that your attitude you can control. You can control your own emotion. You can control your attitude. We're always trying to control everybody else because it's always everybody else's fault. Everybody else is doing this to us. No, they may be a part of it, but it's your responsibility to see what they're doing and either get away from it or try to help them by seeing a positive side of it. And either or, but the bottom line is your attitude is the one that's going to create the ability to either, okay, I'm going to help this person, or you know what, I just really don't want to hear it right now. I'm not going to get mad at you, but I'm going to be I still want to have my attitude good. I'm just going to walk away from it. I'm just going to turn the other cheek, just walk away, and then maybe we'll address this later. But bottom line is that my attitude is the one I'm trying to control. My discipline I'm trying to control, not yours.
That's the only thing you can control.
You can't. And that's it. You can't control somebody else. You don't like me? No. There's nothing I can do about it except just keep living how I'm living.
Yeah.
Not try to appease you. Maybe try to see your way if there is a difference of opinions. And do your best. And I say try because I'm human. I try. I can't always see it. I may never agree with your opinion on things.
Right.
But at least I'm trying to see where you're coming from. But then at the end, am I going to be angry? Am I going to be angry? It's my attitude. or am I going to be happy? And that's how it ends. And people are always thinking we can control each other, and it's not possible.
It doesn't work.
You know, but once you're able to control your attitude, honestly, you turn into a happier person, and that's just a domino effect, and everybody around you, I really do feel, becomes more positive and at least starts to see things in a better light, more optimism than pessimism. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right with the pessimism in today's world, and maybe it's always been like that. I don't know. I've never really paid attention to really now.
I was thinking that too. I was wondering, like, God, man, has it always been like this? And now with social media, is it just more prevalent because we can get to it faster, or it comes to us quicker?
I would put money on it that social media has a little bit to do with the pessimism, just a tad. Yeah,
I'm not taking that bet because you're right.
it's too easy. You know, when it is true when you don't have to be worried about getting jacked in the jaw for saying something, it leads you person to say more stuff, and that's not a negative thing. That's just, hey, you want to talk crap back in the old day. You want to talk crap? All right, let's go settle our differences. And then say you're going to shoot him or cut him with the machete or anything. Let's go settle our differences.
Yeah.
And every fight that I've ever seen, and I'm not a big fighter, but every fight that I can count them on one hand, real fights that I've been on, every time you're done, back in the old days, the good old days, you became better friends. Yeah, you became better friends after that fight was over. It was, you know what, hey, bro hug, hey, you're right.
Just so you know, that's guys. That is so not women.
Oh, that's not women. That's all. You're right, and I can't speak on women fight. I've seen a few of those back in Grand Junctions. Oh my gosh, and especially when y'all wear rings, those were vicious. Oh my goodness, those are. And then they were anger forever. It was like, you're right. So it's guy fights. You're right.
Right. It's two women fighting. It's a totally different dynamic there, man.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I'm trying to think of a girl fight I've seen where they actually became friends immediately after. Never. It usually took a year, at least.
They didn't go to the bar and have a beer afterwards.
No. It was at least a year I've seen them become friends, but it did take a long time. But that being said, again, you know, even in a fight, you can't control somebody's attitude, even when you're punching them in the face. It's not going to happen. All right, man. How did we go down that rabbit hole?
I don't know, but it was good. I really like that. Was a good one. This is such a fun episode because, God, man, we need to laugh. I mean, look at me. When I laugh, my eyes water, and you know you're getting me good because I'm constantly.
I know. My mascara is starting. I know. Laughter is always, and that's the thing. Is people when they meet me and they've seen the movie and they meet me, they're like, "You are exactly like that guy." And well, yeah.
He did such a great guy at portraying you. He did such a good job at portraying you.
Well, he's a tremendous person, and I'll say it. And I still consider us friends. We don't talk a whole bunch, but we'll text with each other. A couple months ago we were texting, and I said I could see him, and we could give each other a hug and say hi. But it was because of the closeness that we got on the set, and even before that his portrayal was accurate. And I really think his personality, my opinion, he may disagree with me, but I think it's somewhat similar, which helped. He's just, the only difference is, I mean, there's a big difference in size. I mean, he's like 6'2", 250. Nah, he's not 250, about 235. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, yeah.
And I'm little. I mean, I'm still muscular. But I'm like 5'9", 160. So, but other than that, you know, he's just, and we're both good looking guys. So I can't argue with that. You know, but he did it. But you know what also did, and that's what gets you out of your comfort zone. At that time, I really had a negative outlook on Hollywood, as a lot of people who, and I'm not going to say I'm right leaning, but I believe in God, Constitution. So if you follow all those parameters, I probably lean closer to right. But you get that, Hollywood left. When I worked with him and all the other guys that were on set, Mr. John Krasinski, even Michael Bay, and I don't think Michael Bay actually even cares one way or the other, to be honest. But I didn't get that left-right feeling on set. I got that they just want to get the story right. And
That's awesome.
and so it opened up my eyes that maybe I'm not seeing, maybe not everyone in Hollywood is a crazy left-wing liberal. Maybe there actually are some good people. And, so you just don't make those predetermined notions. Now there's assholes on every side. You can't,
but that's a great thing, because my number one live and die rule is that in the absence of information, people make stuff up. And unless you have those really good unless you make a connection with somebody and you assess it for yourself, you'll never know. And so we don't like not having answers in our heads. So we create a story around it.
Yeah, you do. By who you see around them, especially if you're in the media spotlight a lot, you see how what the media portrays them like. Most people would come to me after they look at me as like, oh my gosh, he's a crazy 3%er. Just hates everything unless you're whiter than white. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm actually Latino. If you didn't know that. No, I am not. Trump. No, I'm not like that. That's not me either. I don't care if you are, but that's not me either. But I guarantee you, people that have watched Benghazi or followed it, and they've seen me on TV. And I've attacked politicians because it was personal, and I dislike. And a lot of the ones that I attacked on the media, I actually had personal confrontations with them, not just on the media. It was face to face. So, but that was personal, and that was something that I experienced personally, and that was also when I was a lot angrier person. But again, when I was doing that, it had nothing to do with their political stance. I didn't care left or right. It was, hey, you're lying about what happened. You're calling the family members liars. Now you're also, and some of you had the responsibility to help us, and you left us behind, both on the right and left. So I got a personal issue. Yeah. And I can see where people would come across and say, hey, he's right wing. Well, no, I probably lean more that way, I guess. But to say that I'm way over on this end on the right side, no, that's incorrect. That wouldn't be right. And unless you get to know me, I'm going to look at you and you're going to see a stereotype of military veteran. Yeah. Versus like a redneck. He must be some crazy 3%er because he likes guns. I'm like, no.
And I think that's a big misnomer that people have with veterans, is that they get out and they're like mortally wounded, or they're lifelong bitter, or it's just like, no.
And this is my bitter face right here. Here it is. I'm so bitter.
With your Mickey Mouse mug.
But you're right. You're right.
Coffee to snort up into your nose when you did that. So
don't worry, it'll do it. Just roll through it. I've happened before. I know how to handle it. And I'll just keep drinking it up with milk. But you're right. Lifelong bitter, and that's farthest from the case. And I hope other veterans can see me if they do it, because I've lost a lot of friends. I have during not just over there, but at home too, like that have taken their lives because it's hard to turn that off when you have that you have that adrenaline, and it is a lot of adrenaline. Turn that off and be normal. But that being said, I hope they can see that you can do it, and you can actually still enjoy life away from over there, or away from combat, or away from whatever life that was. That's a good chapter. Turn it off, close that chapter, then start a new one. Yeah. And those that can do that, which is what we went full circle here with the goals and the objective setting, something new. Those are the ones that are very, very happy, and finding your family again. That is one thing that helped me. Finally found my family. I thought I was missing something when I wasn't able to return to work, and I wasn't. I just shut out my family. When I finally found them again is when things started to turn around as well. And a lot of veterans don't think that, because they think their family is the guys they were with. That is one of your families.
Right.
But your real family is the ones that you used to call when you were overseas.
Right.
After a mission happened, it's the ones who you couldn't wait to talk to on the phone to tell them you're all right.
Right.
And guys miss that. Forget that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's not a cool guy thing. But I was never cool regardless, so it did make it to me. But I when some of the guys that I've seen that have come out of their come out of their doldrums, their depression, their post-traumatic stress, are the ones that actually are able to close that. All right, that chapter's done. I'm proud of it. Great things. I'm gonna be able to talk about it for the rest of my life. But now I'm gonna start this family over here, which is my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
And they're able to take off.
And I don't know, and we should probably close with this because I know you've got to go. I've kept you just a couple minutes over. But
Has it really been 30 minutes
I
already?
know it has. That's what I'm saying. It's a sign of a good podcast when you lose time.
Oh, wow. I thought it was like 2 minutes. No, go ahead. I talked over you. So if you got a few questions, I'll shut up. You ask me the questions and we can go.
I was going to say too, I think what's important that employers recognize is that, when they do, work to recruit veterans coming in, and it's based off of what you just said, you guys you're closing that chapter. So it's an adjustment, right? But
It is.
the thing is that when you're bringing veterans into the company who are in that transition process, don't keep their chapter open. Don't do that to them.
Agreed. I agree. Not saying that you can't say thank you for your service or be respectful because of that service, but what I like right now, I'm working for a company called Administrative Strategies, working back in the insurance business again with the National Flood Insurance Program. None of them are they know, most of them know my background. I don't go out there and tell them, hey, this is but when they find out, they're very respectful to me. And I think there is an amount of respect you have to give a veteran. You should give a veteran that's seen combat, because it's if you haven't seen it, you can't know unless you know. And there's a respect that needs to be given, because it is horrific. And if they've got through it, they deserve that respect. But also, don't be afraid to pour the workload on them. And that's what veterans need, is that, hey, I'm throwing you the dogs right now. Here's the workload. They can handle it. It's when you're kind of spoon-feeding them because you're worried they're not going to be able to take it. It's almost condescending to us.
Yes.
What do you think? I've been shot at by 8 million Taliban. I can handle a couple extra reports. And then that pisses us off a little bit as well. It's like, wait a second. So you don't think I can handle this paperwork? No, throw it at them. And even if they're complaining, guess what we do overseas when we complain? We are the professional complainers, but we get it done. And you can ask any SEAL, Ranger, SF. We sit in a team room and we bitch, and we get it done. That's just our personality. And that's what you do. And you have to. And that's what with admin strat, with the insurance stuff, is like, hey, pile it on me. I can handle it. I need that. I need that work. I need that workload. I need that objective. And give me clear guidelines of what's expected of me as well. We need a little bit of that structure. We still do, no matter if we're in or not.
Right. And just because you guys are vocalizing, we'll call it that, right?
You got to put up with a little bit of the vocalizing. That's just that's how we're built. That's how we're made. You come with the territory.
That's right. You all are not made for parade. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, only if you're an officer. I should say a high-ranking officer. If you're above if you're an 04 and above, then you're missing.
But that's the thing. It's like, don't treat veterans like they have PTSD. Don't treat them like they've been through hell and you're just imposing whatever's going through your mind onto them. Now, there are guys out there that do need the help, and be mindful of it. And there's definitely resources that you can tap into. However, here's my experience. And this is solely my experience, because I had a really significant case one time that I can't talk about it in all detail, but it was pretty bad. It was an individual who was feigning PTSD and getting all of this attention, and it was inappropriate behavior. That's different. And that's what a lot of employers, they don't, because if they haven't been around veterans, if they're not in a heavy veteran community,
you'd never be able to tell. You think that's normal because you've seen too many movies of it. And
right, it's all Hollywood.
Yeah,
100% Hollywood.
And if veterans that do take advantage of that because they like to feel someone to feel sorry for them, I get on guys like that. Stop.
It's not a good fit.
No, and if you're doing that, feeling, then first of all, you're probably lying. Second of all, if you're enjoying that tension of somebody feeling sorry for you, remember what you used to do and what you used to be, and was that acceptable behavior back when you were whatever unit you're with? No. If you say no, then don't do it now, because guess what it does? Just what you said with employers, it creates a stigma for the rest of us. And that's a stigma that's easy to embellish, and it's easy to go and be passed on from employer to employer because it's revalidated again and again on the TV set, on a movie, but it's not accurate at all.
No, it's not. And not to mention, when you have somebody that's like that, there are way more deeper issues than just what you're seeing on the surface, and they creep up to the top and say howdy. They do.
Oh, they do. Yeah, that's it. And always, if that's the case, I always tell employers, if that's something that's going, you find out the unit that they're with. And there's always, that's one beauty with social media that you can do. If there's always these different unit pages, and you're more welcome. Hey, report it. Most guys will handle it themselves. We will handle it in-house. We just have to find out about it. So like if there's a ranger that's doing that, or he's somebody that's claiming to be a ranger and he's doing that in a job, believe me, we will find out if the proper channels, if it's gone through the proper channels. And if social media, that's one benefit of it. It does allow us to find out, and then we'll nip that in the bud. Or chances are an employer will have an actual real ranger or SF guy there that will find out, hey, this gentleman, Mr. Smith, he's claiming to be something that he's not. Go fix it. Yeah. And it'll be taken care of. I'm glad you mentioned that, because nobody really talks about that. And that happens a lot. Now, that's good. It's good you mentioned it. It really is.
There's nothing, there's not a lot of background check companies out there that will do a military background check anymore. And people don't know to ask for a DD-214.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to read a DD-214. I mean, if somebody tells me that they're a team guy or they're a SEAL, it's like, all right, fine. I want to see a DD-214. And if I don't see 5326 on there,
then you don't. No, then
or if they don't show up, then they're just, they're another poser. But I mentioned, we had Eddie Penny on a while ago, and we were talking about background checks, and I mentioned to him, and I thought he was going to reach through the screen and say hello at one point. But I told him, I said, it took place up in Pennsylvania. There was a sheriff that was up for re-election. And for 18 years, nobody went and verified his background. And he kept saying that he was a Navy SEAL. He's, starting UDT, went into 2. Never there. As a matter of fact, there's a case going back to 1999 where a federal marshal was terminated because he falsified his background, saying that he was a SEAL as well. Federal marshal. How many of those arrests that he made have now been discredited?
They're discredited,
and challenged, right? So, it's do your due diligence on that stuff.
You said it perfect. Just DD-214 and make sure you have somebody that knows how to read it. That's a responsible HR department right there. Yep. That's the world we live in. And that's how you cut it. You nip it in the bud right there.
Yeah. And if you don't know how to read it, there's a lot of people out there that do.
And I don't know why anybody would want to say they're a SEAL anyway. A Ranger maybe, but a SEAL. No, I'm kidding. I had to finish with that one.
Yeah,
I had to.
You're so proud of yourself.
Yeah, take that. Take that, Blue. I love it. No, I agree. And I always tell employers, because this is the kind of guy you'll get. A guy that's
just happy.
Yeah, maybe a little, not over sometimes over the top fun, but this is a veteran. This is somebody that, and I like to say that, I don't want to speak for all of them, but this is how we are. We like to have fun. We like the work. We want to be pushed. We want to be challenged. Give us some guidelines. All right. Thank us for our service, but don't treat us with kid gloves like we're broken, because we're not. We're actually harder than we've ever been. Yeah. Literally, I just hardened. And in terms of hardness, I mean tough. I had to say hardness is military word. Let's use civilian word. Tough. And then you got to learn you know what you should do this is another good one for an HR department. Do the vocab, like the tough means hard, so you're transferring civilian words into military words. So when a military word, when somebody from the military says some word, you know what it translates to. So it's a great job.
Yeah. Wonderful. Get right
and
on
we talk
that,
a lot. We can't shut up. We always are talking.
Well, this has been
you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. No, but you're awesome too. And
thank you. Guys, let's face it, stress is an absolute killer. It really is. And in this COVID environment, the election stuff, 2020, it's insane with all the challenges that we've had to face this year. And we all need to manage our stress. One of the biggest points that I talk about in HR leadership is that first and foremost, you have to take care of yourself. You have to manage your stress. You have to manage what you eat. You have to manage how you're physically moving. We're in this mindset that we're in this different environment and it's the quote unquote no normal, but yet it's temporary. Well, temporary, it could be a couple of years. So if you're not paying attention to what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your skin, what you're consuming liquid wise, how much sleep you're getting, what you're moving, I'm telling you, if you're not paying attention to that, you're going to burn out. And it's really easy to burn out in this type of industry, into this field. It's very, very easy because we're constantly taking on everybody else's issues first. Think about it. You wake up in the morning, you do everything that you need to do to get yourself ready, kinda, but you also have a household that you have to get ready. And it could be that you're sharing parenting responsibilities with another parent. Kids are, taking school at home, or on a regular day, you might be actually making lunch and sending, Junior off. Who knows? It depends on where you are, right? And then you run off to work and you deal with other people's problems. So from the time you wake up, you deal with other people's stuff. You get in your car, you deal with other people's stuff. Or in this day and age, you may walk down the hall, open the door, turn your computer on and start dealing with other people's stuff. You spend the whole day dealing with other people's stuff. And then you come home, or you shut the door, shut the computer off and walk back down to the kitchen to deal with other people's stuff. At one point, are you dealing with your stuff? Right? So you have to figure out how you're going to go ahead and start taking care of yourself. All right. How you do that is by making some changes in what you put in your body and how you move it. Two things that I've done for myself, and I do not get paid for this. I'm going to tell you right now, I really truly believe in these things, is that I've worked on improving my sleep and improving my recovery. I've also worked on improving my eating. By doing so, I wound up really digging into and using the MASF Smashing Greens. And it has helped keep my immune system up by incorporating that dense nutritional support that I know I need. Okay. I am not the best eater on the planet. I'm telling you right now, I really am not. But by incorporating that, I've done better for myself. I've also helped manage my stress because it allows me to sleep better. And one of the things that I use is a THC-free CBD gummy by Naked Warrior Recovery. Helps me recover from the day, lowers my stress, helps me disconnect, stop thinking, and helps me literally achieve a solid 7 hours of good, restful sleep each evening. Now, you can get the Naked Warrior Recovery CBD gummies or any other Naked Warrior Recovery product at 20% off in your first initial visit. And that is by using this code called NakedHR. All right. I'm telling you, I swear by it. The dog he's got liver gummies when he's getting all a little too anxious about stuff. It just smooths you right out. And with their energy drink, it also, with the caffeine and the CBD, it keeps you very, very, very focused. And if you guys want a free sample, you want to try what one of those is like, go ahead and email it to me. But it's verified. I'll go ahead and send one out to you. It's verified. There is no THC in it. So if you're concerned about, popping a drug test, you have to, take that consideration yourself, but it does not contain THC. It has been proven and verified. All right. So you guys know, I love your questions. I love your questions. All right. And how you can submit your questions to possibly be read on the show is clicking on the podcast link from the menu. Down towards the bottom of the podcast page is a submission form for you to go ahead and post your question, which I may read and answer on an upcoming episode. Again, the website is BrendaTheHRLady.com. So this to me is a loaded question. And I think this is what's kind of happening across the country right now, is that we see a question like this and everybody just immediately flocks to an answer. We're losing our ability to take that step back and think critically. And I challenge you guys through the rest of the year just from now until New Year's Eve. You can go back to doing this after New Year's Eve if you don't want to do it anymore. But I'm going to challenge each one of you to take on is to, instead of just launching into an immediate answer in the Facebook groups, in, feeds that you're using, take time, critically think, ask questions. So here's the question. All right. Is it legal for an employer in the United States to fire you for putting in applications for other jobs? My separation notice says, quote unquote, employee started actively looking for other employment - terminated, end quote. This should be a huge flag to you. There is more to the story than just this. To answer his question, there's nothing out there that prohibits an employer from terminating you if you are looking for other jobs. The question is, what else happened that got you terminated? Because just looking for another job or just actively looking for another job, and I'm holding a key piece of information back. This gentleman worked for a government agency. Let me tell you something. To get fired by the government takes almost damn near an act of Congress. So something else was going on. No doubt in my mind. Okay? It probably was the easy way to get this person out. That's my guess. But there's more to the story. I know there is. I don't know what it is, but I promise you there's going to be more to the story than something like that. But if somebody is, actively looking for a job, you know what? To be honest with you, if you find out about it, good. And I don't mean to sound snarky or anything, but if somebody doesn't want to be with your company and, they're not a high value player, or they're not, your top tier employee, it's okay. Let them go. Let them go find something else, because you're going to be able to replace that person. And I know if you're out there, looking for candidates right now, I'm thinking like, oh my God, Brenda, what are you smoking? Right? That's not the case. It's hard to find candidates. Yes and no. Kind of depends on where you're looking and what the job is. But you can replace an average to a satisfactory employee with an average to a satisfactory person and candidate to come in and fill that position. Where you're going to have the problems and where you should be mostly concerned is your high caliber employees. Those are going to be the ones that you're going to say, okay, look, I understand that you're looking for new jobs. Let's sit down and talk, right? Or that person that has that deep institutional knowledge. If the person leaving hinders your ability to move the company forward, I'm not saying it's a greater effort, but you're going to have a different dynamic when that person leaves rather than just your average player, and you'll be able to recover from that faster. Okay? So just food for thought. Paradigm shift, switch your thinking. If you have a lot of people leaving, that's a totally different subject, but we're not talking about that right. We're just talking about this one person. This is a loaded question. I think there's more to the story on this one. And that's what I'm encouraging you guys to do, is to take a step back. Now, how many of you, when you heard this, instinctively went in your head an answer that you would have posted online had you sat and read it? Think about that for a second. Is it legal for an employer in the United States to fire you for putting in applications for the job? My separation notice says employees started actively looking for other employment, terminated. Instinctively, we want to say, God, man, that sucks. That's not fair. That's not right. But this is where, when you hear that, right, when you get that internal reaction, that's when you take that step back and say, what else is going on here? Let's talk about it. Help me understand. That's like my favorite phrase. And it's really funny because anybody who knows me really well, as soon as I start saying, help me understand what's going on, help me understand this, they're like, don't use your HR voice on me. They all do it too. It's really funny. Okay, guys, look, got a couple things to share with you. Being part of being a solid HR champion is knowing what to do and when to do it. And some of that comes with practice, some of it comes with instinct, and the rest of the time you cheat. Just kidding. In which you use an HR planner. And the new 2021 HR planner is coming out in December. I'm currently taking pre-order sales until November 15th at a reduced rate. Now, if you've purchased the 2020 version of the best HR planner on the planet, then this version will blow you out of the water. Promise you, because I've added more. In the planner, you're going to find an overview of what HR pros and champions do, what skills are needed, as well as detailed work activities that you can use to help craft your own job description and also help guide you so you understand what you need to get good at as you progress in your career. Okay? You're going to find a breakdown of the various employment laws that companies are required to follow based on company size or employee size. It's going to provide a deeper dive into what federal contractors need to adhere to in order to be compliant. There's going to be a 12-month overview of HR compliance deadlines, the 12-month actual planner with tips and tasks to help keep you on course, and a list of U.S. holidays and observances, a year-end checklist, and access to over 60 online resources. And believe it or not, there's more. Promise you. I mean, it's almost twice the size as last year's. Okay. You can go ahead and order your 2021 copy at a discount until November 15th. And you can find this at BrendaTheHRLady.com. Click on shop at the top, and your planner will be shipped to you in December. Grab your copy today. Get a head start on planning your tomorrow. And, just kiss 2020 goodbye. Just get ready to welcome 2021. All right. We'll put a lot of this stuff behind us. Again, look, guys, we're having real conversations, real time with real people. They're awesome. This is a growing group, and they're just fantastic. All right. There are new and exciting changes coming over the next several months at the Next Gen Women in HR community. I say that because we're constantly changing and we're constantly getting better. This is an awesome group of women and men, and we're growing strong and fast. I can speak for the group and share that we would love to have you join and get into the conversation. Again, you can find us over on Facebook. It's called Next Gen Women in HR. When you get there, you have to answer 3 questions. If you don't answer the 3 questions, there's one that you can bypass. But if you don't provide that information, we're not going to let you in. And the reason why is because we have dedicated HR people in there. We have one vendor right now that's in there. And the only reason why we have a vendor in there is because I actually am working on a project with them that I know can benefit people in this group. It's a really cool project. Can't talk about it just yet, but he's already posting stuff in the group that will help. Check it out. If you would like to, get a little bit of extra education at no cost right now, a little HR juju, you can go ahead and take the free HR leadership course. It's a very short course that covers 6 aspects of HR leadership that I believe everybody would need for anybody who's an established pro or an aspiring pro. All right. These are things that you need to that you have to master. Even if you aren't an HR manager or you're just looking to get better at being a better people leader, if you're listening, these 6 aspects absolutely are going to help you. And they're all available, like I said, on my free HR leadership course at BrendaTheHRLady.com. I'm going to be honest and let you know that it is my secret goal to have you join our HR coaching and mentorship program so that we can help you skill up, feel confident in your HR progression, feel confident moving forward, feel confident with the decisions that you're making. Okay. When you sign up for the course, you're going to get my best practices and updates delivered directly to your inbox. Pretty awesome stuff. If you guys have been enjoying the show, please do me a favor. Can you hop over either to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or wherever it is that you get this show delivered to you? Please leave a 5-star review, and I would greatly appreciate it. You guys are welcome to go ahead and connect with me. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Brenda the HR Lady. You can also find me on LinkedIn just by using my name, Brenda Neckvatal. That's spelled N-E-C-K, like the thing you want to choke, V as in Victor, A-T-A-L. And I also co-host another show called The Real HR Show with the evil HR lady herself, Suzanne Lucas. She's awesome. Love working with her. And lastly, you can jump on the website at BrendaTheHRLady.com, where you can read the news updates I called out earlier in the episode simply by visiting the website. Click on the podcast link at the top, and then you can get this week's articles. Guys, thank you again. Once again, a salute to our veterans. We love you guys here. just excited to be part of everything that happens with the Honor Foundation, with the UDT SEAL Association, and all of the other organizations that, in the Naval Special Warfare community that I participate in. You guys are great. I've learned so much from everybody here, and it's my goal this month to turn around and help give back by, again, helping employers understand what the veteran community needs. So, guys, have a wonderful week.